Oh,
Good afternoon and welcome to Crypto Market Updates. I'm your host, Alan Wazny, and this is episode number 14. On the line, I've got Mark Magliocco. As you can see from both of our backgrounds, X528 is sponsoring this podcast. Mark.
Rocking it.
So Mark, today's the 11th of December. Wow, what a week it has been. Should we go right to the charts? Because in my view, people are probably wondering what's happened to Bitcoin over the past week. It has gone up and then it's gone a little bit down.
It's going crazy. Yep, it is going crazy. I mean, okay, sure. Let me share my screen here. I mean, I predicted this stuff last week a little bit, right? Let me screen that. Yeah, this looks like the right
So there was,
screen here.
the market noise. We're going to talk about some of the news that helped it go back to pop over 44, almost 45, and then something's happened this week. I don't know what's going on in the macro news. So Mark's got the charts up here.
Yeah. I mean, so I was kind of like alluding to this last week where I didn't think it was, I kind of thought it was going to be the opposite. Like it was going to trend a little bit lower and then like pop over 40K, but it just like shot it, it just popped right over there, hit 45K. But then like, how we we're talking before, if you're if you're into technical analysis, like it's got to follow these moving averages, right? And that's essentially what the market makers do. And so you can see here, like it really popped off way up from its moving average, the week before. And now this last week, it's really just been catching back up, right? So you can see like, you're never going to see like big, massive, concurrent or consecutive green candles in a row because it just doesn't work. Like the markets just don't work that way. So it's going to see a big pop, and then you might see another like little green candle, but then there's always going to come down. You're always going to see a red candle. So yeah, you can see here, like this is exactly what happens. You got a big pop, now it's coming back down towards its moving average. So curious to see how the rest of this week will go. I mean, in its current state, it's showing here.
It's kind of back to where, so a week ago you talked about it was going to, probably stay in a band between 36 and 40. So it popped over 40. And I think
I said that was like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
I said, yeah, there's a good chance
I'm not,
like it would.
Yeah, I'm just saying that seemed reasonable, kind of a sensible approach, not just in general, right? The macro kind of view, looking at the technical analysis, and then it just popped last week, or
yeah, I didn't expect it to go like that high so quickly, but it definitely popped. But you can see like I thought it definitely would reach like 45K probably by the end of December, but you can see that's really accelerated. But you can see here like what the chart is showing now, like this is so you can see like just looking
so
from
what's
the
at the bottom there,
perspective.
that gray, what's that bottom kind of graph that's showing a downward trend? Is that volume?
This
No, over
one,
here in the middle.
here?
Yeah.
So this is stochastic momentum, and this is why I like Yahoo Finance, because they are the only chart technical analysis indicator that has this specific indicator. If you use ChartView or TradingViews or like any of these other, even like the paid services, they don't have stochastic momentum. It's really weird. And this is the best single indicator that you can use outside of like
So for the non-sophisticated, including myself, give us the Coles Notes version, or the layman's term for stochastic measuring, or stochastic.
So you can, yeah, of course. So you can see here, like the last time when it crosses over the red line, you can see like what happened last time. So
yeah,
when the gray area, like when the gray line crossed over the red line here, like what happened? It ripped, right? It went for a bull run, and you can see here it's over the red line, just been ripping it, and now here what we're seeing
it's going
today,
below the red line.
Yeah, so not a good sign. I mean, and even if you're looking at last week, so if you're looking at RSI, which is relative strength index, so meaning like how much buy or sell pressure has been on the asset. So you can see here like anything over 80 roughly, like maybe even 70 you could say, but definitely over 80 is overbought. So that means that it's due to come back down. And then sure enough, this week you can see now it's coming back down to 68. Who knows how low it's gonna go? I would say like,
so that's the index is at where do you see that index?
This year, so relative strength
Oh,
index
okay.
here.
Yep.
Yeah,
There you are. Yep.
you can see that number. So that there last week it was at 86, which is really high. So I
Yeah.
mean that's just anything like over 80, like anything over 80, especially over 90, it's just a
Just
matter of time
overbought.
until it's going to come down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's something new. I don't think we've talked about that before. Thanks for that
Yep.
clarification. So the RSI
And then
indicator. Yeah.
the last one is moving average convergence divergence, and I leave it as like a trailing indicator, so you can see like it takes a bit longer for this. Let me see if I can kind of make this chart a little
For the
bit
MACD.
bigger.
MACD.
Yeah, my screen's a little too small. I need my needs monitor. But anyway, it's kind of like a lagging indicator, so you can see it had crossed over, and now here it hasn't quite like I let not to get too technical, but I let the stochastic momentum like really fast, so it's like a leading indicator, and I kind of have a lagging indicator with moving average convergence divergence. So it
Yeah.
hasn't crossed over yet. I mean, it's kind of like difficult to see there. But if this purple line crosses over the orange, like the
Yeah.
gold line, then it's like a sure sign that it's like definitely coming back down.
Downward.
It's like a bearish
Okay.
trend. But I think like what we're just seeing, this is normal. It's probably gonna like sit here for a little bit, trending around like 40K. Um, Curious to see what will happen the rest of the week. It's really up in the air right now. I mean, it could go back down. It can go. It's not really showing like a lot of support anywhere either. So we'll see what happens. I mean,
Well, it's
yeah, I mean,
interesting, Mark. If we look back, so if you and I
like
managed to
massive sell
record
pressure on the monthly.
a couple of days ago when it was sitting at 44, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we could have explained it in one, just sort of the market, some of the market news that we're going to look at, um, explain that uptick in broadly, in a broad sense. And now you've actually added, you may have been able to add and say, well, it went up, but now you've explained why it's gone down, particularly with that RSI, a
Mm-hmm.
little overbought. And
Yep.
so those are some technical trades would have said, if you're shorting Bitcoin, that would have been a good. So if we looked at this and you would have said, yeah, the RSI is at 80, say on Saturday, we
Mm-hmm.
might have had a signal at that point to say, well, this is probably a little bit overbought. But it's a shame that we didn't have that to look at it on Saturday.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, it
No, no,
is
no, I'm
what
not
it
saying for
is,
you. I'm
right?
just saying, for that technical
Mm-hmm.
review, we could have probably had some triggers there. And you know what?
Yep.
We should probably caveat this as we've done in the past.
Oh, we didn't
Uh,
investment advice.
Yeah, so
We
all
didn't,
discussions in this episode
right.
and past episodes and future episodes are for informational purposes only and should not
Mm-hmm.
be relied upon for legal, business, investment, or tax advice. So we're really here
Right.
just for just trying to help the community, and that caveat is very important.
Yeah,
So
we're
thank
just
you.
trading slash crypto enthusiasts, but to not by any means any kind of financial or trading
Yeah,
advisors. But yeah, so I mean, I think what we could see this week is it's tough. It's in the air. I think it's kind of like not one way or the other. It'd be nice if it holds and finds some support
yeah.
around 40K. I think we'll be in good, looking good for the remainder of the year. But
Is there anything
yeah, it's
that you
really
see
TBD.
that from that chart that would say there's a floor at 40-ish? Is there
I
anything
mean, you
you
can
see?
see here, so it hit a low of, it looks like so far it's holding around 40, but I mean, it's really like, yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, yeah, okay. It was just today you got the big, big sell down today,
I think,
right?
as I said the
So
other day, it looks like a Loch Ness
yeah,
monster. It's probably putting his head back down into the water now.
yeah. See, and so I mean, we were looking at the weekly charts before. This is the daily chart, and you can see, look at that, like it just right down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as of it would have signaled you today to short, but yeah, I mean, we'll stay. I think we just follow the charts, and looks like so we got support potentially at 30. The next bar of support would be around 39,000. Which if I move my so that would be the 20-day moving average,
Yep.
39,000. So I think if it finds support around like 40,000, that would be 39,000, 40,000. I think we're still in good shape and still like poised to consider. Because I mean, if you look at it, it's just like the views that you're looking at. So look, I mean, the last 3 months, I'm looking at the monthly view now, like massive growth,
Yep.
October, massive. I mean, still like this is like bullish as hell, right? I mean, this is like massive bull.
That's right.
So I think
That's right.
it's just that it can't. as much as like there's so much buying pressure, the market makers just they won't let it happen. They won't let the price of the asset
The whales,
increase that
the
fast, right?
whales, the crypto whales.
Yep, that's it. So we'll see.
Okay.
I think it's still very bullish. And I think 2024, how it currently looks, is still going to be looks really great for a bull run. So I think we're gearing up for a bull run for 2024 if this trend continues.
I should, I want to share the note. I'll share this in the episode notes, but the podcast I listened to with David Packman of Coin Fund, and he talked about there was three factors today which are different than they were in past. He said one of them was, there was less investors, but it was but he said regarding the price, and there's so many people building now on Bitcoin, the application itself. So any dips or the previous bad noise or bad news, it had a severe impact. The crypto winters we felt or faced over the last 4 or 5 years. But one other thing he said is that not only the builders but also I just lost the biddlers. I lost my train of thought there, Mark. But I think it was I want to share that because David Packman's been on two podcasts, one on the Bloomberg or on the TechCrunch podcast, and then on the Strictly V podcast, the Strictly VC. So he's David Packman, just for the benefit of the two people listening to this, the guy's a real thought leader. He's been in the space for a while, and he was mining Bitcoin, as I understand, in 2015, 2016. So the guy he's a top VC. So
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah. So let's go to the news, Mark. I mean, there's some
I
news
guess
articles.
like TBD for the charts. Hopefully, if Bitcoin holds at 40K, then I think we're in a good spot. But we'll just see how this week progresses.
Yeah.
So for the news, we got this one I thought was interesting. So you got Tether's new sanctions froze 161 wallets. So I didn't realize that like Tether has this kind of control where they can just go and freeze people's wallets and like it kind of it's disappointing, right? That that they can still do that because I mean it kind of defeats the whole purpose of DeFi and decentralization. I mean, not to say that if they're saying it's sanctioned by the US and whatever, so I'm assuming it's probably like Russian or something that they've sanctioned, and they've got the funny thing is like not to get political, but how many like Israeli wallets have been sanctioned? And that's it's crazy. It's all about like who's writing the history, right? But anyway, it's mad just the world. But anyway,
It's
I was a little
unfortunate that
disappointed to see this.
political comes into play on some of these things, and
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just like who's to say what's right and wrong? Like I mean, obviously, I don't want to get involved in any side, take any sides of anything, but I think that's why I love Bitcoin and crypto and
Yeah.
decentralization because it doesn't have any sides. It's like, it's open and available for anyone, right? And that was, I mean, obviously, like if you're, into some kind of illegal things or whatever, then yeah, maybe like law enforcement needs to trace it and stuff like that. But
Where is Tether based? Obviously in the US or
I
what?
think they're the US, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. But yeah. Anyway, but I saw that one, so that's an interesting
Is
one.
it a coin? It's a wallet? Must be. Is it a non-custodial wallet or it's a?
No, I mean they've got their own stablecoin, right? So it's USDT. So
Yeah.
they've got new sanctions affecting 161 Ethereum wallets, which hold no USDT at all. It's just interesting, like yeah.
Okay.
You're just freezing whatever. I don't even know how they're doing that, but
Well, the
anyway.
headquarters it says Tether's headquarters are British Virgin Islands, Hong Kong, Isle of Man, formerly Isle of Man. And that was just a quick Google search.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, oh, I didn't see that in the article.
Tether Limited is a Hong Kong-based company, Phoenix, which also
Oh,
owns the
okay.
Bitfinex crypto. So, okay.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Anyways, yeah. So I just want to share that one. Just kind of a little bit disappointed with the Tether in that one. But anyway, moving on. So this also was a little bit shady. I saw this today. So crypto provisions dropped from the 2023 U.S. defense bill. This is like the shadiest thing because like everyone's been up in arms against the SEC and telling them to back off crypto regulation. So you know what these guys did? They tried to tag on crypto regulation onto this military defense bill that was like a must pass bill, and they like hit it. They didn't even put it in. So like when it went to the House of Representatives, it was not included in the bill. But when it went to the Senate, they like tagged it into the back end of it, hoping that no one would catch it, and someone
Yeah.
caught it, and now they removed the provisions out of the bill. It's like, man, these guys are like, they're just so that's like so shisty of to do that. It's like, oh, we've gotten backlash. The public doesn't want, the SEC to be regulating crypto like this, blah, blah, blah. But the banks still do. So the Treasury Department has put in these like shady whatever
Yeah, this
regulations. It's
reminds
like
me.
a
There was
bunch of bullshit, man.
2 or 3 years ago they tried to put some legislation in
Shady,
requiring
man.
they require. I don't know if it's, yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but previously there was a couple years ago, and there was some news about they wanted, all crypto accounts to be detailed, who the background, who was
Yeah.
holding the accounts, and so there was a real pushback on that, and the legislation almost got pushed through before it even had a public, for the public to look at it. So I don't know.
Right.
Yeah,
No, that's it. You see, the House of Representatives version of the NDAA did not contain the provisions that the Senate version did. So I don't even know that they can do that. It's like the House approves it, and then it goes to
yeah.
the Senate, and they can add more shit in, and they're just like, "Hey, go ahead and like now approve it." Like, it's like, how do you run a government like
These are
that? There's just
complicated,
not.
Mark. I think some of these things make noise, good headlines, but they're
Mhm.
really complicated, and it just goes to the point about, the government's not set up to be tech specialists. The government's not set up to be crypto specialists. Somebody gets on these things, whether it's
Mhm.
Senator Mark Warner or whatever. But it's, you know, do they have the leg to stand on? And these are good. These will probably spend more time in court and make the lawyers rich. But
Yep,
anyway, they make good
exactly.
headlines. I don't think personally, I don't think they're really representative of the market. What's happening, unless there is a, like the SEC against Coinbase, or the SEC against Ripple. Like those are real cases and they're real companies
Well, I mean,
versus
if they
general.
had passed these things, like then it would have come into law, right? And the
But
SEC turned around and said, "Well, it's in law. You got to do it. It's the law now."
yeah,
Right?
but
And they're
again,
like,
it's
"Well,
not
hey,
the
wait a
law.
second,
But it's not the law, right? My point is, these
yeah,
make good headlines until they become the law.
mm,
The
right,
governing
what's it?
power. They can also be changed with the new government. But anyway, I've been just
Yeah,
saying they're hard to dig into
well,
if you don't really understand the politics involved in it, right?
yeah, I guess, but and either way, I just thought that was shady. Like, who does that? Anyway, and now looking, this is exciting. So, Chainlink now offering staking, pretty cool. So, I mean, just adding more value to the Link token, which has also been like doing very well this year, a lot this year
Link
especially.
was phenomenal last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great company. I think
I remember when it was trading at 7 cents or 70 cents, something like that. It was back in 2019 when I first came back to Canada after being overseas, and Link
mhm.
was like a flyer. And I don't know what its price is today, but it had hit pretty high
The
at one point.
I think 15
16.
bucks. I'm not sure exactly. I think we
Yeah,
should probably check the chart quickly, but let's see. You know,
that's fine. Link is at 15, but Link
yeah,
Link I just
yeah.
remember being at 70 cents equivalent way back when the coin
Wow.
back in 2019. So it's had a
Hmm.
phenomenal run. Yeah, it says
Yeah,
right in the article how much it's trading. It's 15.
yeah. $15. I mean, at the
Yeah,
time of writing, right, whenever that was. But yeah, I mean, honestly, like I think anyone asking, like, oh, what crypto should I buy? I always say like, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link is always in there. It's like it has real value, right? I mean,
yeah.
they're an Oracle network, right? So yeah,
And that's the thing.
good
They've,
things going on there.
there's to now be able to have a staking that just gets more, it gives more options, right? The more mainstream kind of going back to what's happening in the regular traditional markets. There's more features now, user experiences, and the way to move money is phenomenal, and the options are just more and more expansion of Bitcoin, expansion of the chains, the different protocols, and on chain, off chain, we're going to look at. I think we looked last week at one of the companies who allows communication. They were part of that crypto trading group, right? And they
Hmm.
literally allowing in-chain communication. Some of the things you're doing with X528, right? Allowing without bridging, you just literally the security features are much greater than the old bridge hacks or to preventing bridge hacks. So there's so many
Hmm.
options now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that just adds you like more utility to their token, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so that was good one. And then this one I thought was pretty cool. So Reebok is now teamed up with oh who do they who's the Futureverse. I hadn't actually heard of Futureverse
Oh,
before, but
Authentic Brands Group. That's
yeah,
Authentic Brands. I think that's
yeah,
part of the basketball player.
yeah, they got all kinds. So they got like Reebok, Adidas, Nike. They're all like doing this. So they got wearable versions of the NFT linked to shoe
Yeah.
brands, and that's like pretty cool,
But we talked
It's
about this, right? We
yeah,
talked
last
about
year probably or two
the
years ago. Last
utility.
year.
Well, no, but the utility of an NFT. We recently talked
Hmm.
about where Ronaldo, right? That was the last article
Right. Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah. His
they could have
NFTs.
done so much with his brand,
Yeah.
creating swag or creating,
Hmm.
access to events and whatever it is around football or
Yeah.
him. But they didn't, and so yeah, he's getting sued
Exactly.
big time.
I know, but yeah, no, I mean, it's good. Just the more that you see these kind of articles, it's like it's just kind of reinforcing that the
Yeah.
technology is going to stick around, and that that once the big companies start investing time and money into it, it's like just the future continues to progress, right? I think like crypto in general and just blockchain, it just continues to evolve, right? So that's nice. It's nice to see that.
Well, Mark,
And then
there's okay, but before we go into this, because two
hmm,
big articles came up last week, and one was the Coinbase offering. Was it Coinbase or who was it offering the wallet, allowing people to link to buy and sell crypto right in right in their like WhatsApp? Was that PayPal or Coinbase? I can't remember
oh,
who it
I
was.
saw, yeah, there was a payments one. So they had enabled you to be able to buy it. You can do transfers through like
Oh, here it is.
Instagram and TikTok and stuff. I think
Yeah.
that's the one, right?
So that was
Yeah,
Coinbase introduces money
yeah,
transfers through TikTok and Instagram, which,
yeah.
and then the other one was PayPal. We don't need to say the article before you finish your
Yeah,
last
PayPal.
article.
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't touch
PayPal opening
PayPal
up
USD
all
with a
international, PayPal all international. They've got over 600 million. That's what David Packman had spoken about in that podcast. He said PayPal opens up their international remittances or their network for all international remittances, allowing crypto, remittances. PayPal's an old. They've been in this space for a long time. Money management, right? 600 million users globally. They've been doing this since late 90s, right?
yeah. But I mean, if you look at like so one, I mean that's not new. The PayPal their stable coin came out like last year, I think.
Oh, okay.
But when it first came out, I remember like on Twitter, someone had gone through their code and
Yeah.
like in the code, so it gives PayPal the ability to freeze your money, your funds, to,
Oh, you were
to
talking.
drain your
That's
account,
right.
to
Yeah.
drain your entire account, to give the user a tummy ache was written in the code. And they're like, what is this? Like North Korea? Like who developed this code? Like what? And so like
Okay.
and just my
Sure.
own personal experiences with PayPal has just been
But I see that thing.
awful.
I've
God
gone on
awful.
again, off again, right?
Yeah.
Back in 2000, when I was working in 2002 in Tajikistan, PayPal was the only option. They weren't taking credit cards, and cash wasn't.
Horrendous.
You weren't
Horrendous.
going to come in with loads of cash. And so I first set
Mhm.
up my PayPal back then, but I haven't used it sparingly over the last 20 years.
Yeah, the fees, just everything. Like, oh,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, actually, like, funny enough, so my PayPal had got hacked. They like somehow, I don't know, they got access to my PayPal account and then
Yeah.
like sent money, like funds via my card to like some random like person in the Philippines or something. And I was like, hey, like never would I ever make this
I don't mean to
anyway.
laugh,
Long
but you're
story,
right.
I was just
Yeah.
they
It
wouldn't
seems like a
refund my
great
money.
story.
They wouldn't even
It
refund my money.
seems like well, that's disappointing. So
My
okay,
bank
so
my bank refunded my money, but they wouldn't do it.
yeah. Okay,
Absolutely
so
mad.
this
Yeah.
last article, back into Ethereum layer two.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. So, if you're interested in like the ZK, so like zero knowledge proof, so Starknet, it's like they're kind of like the ZK for it's like a ZK scaling solution, and
Yeah.
so that's becoming pretty prominent. And you'll see, so now they're officially announcing they've got a token airdrop coming out. So, yeah, it's good news. I mean, if anyone's interested in getting some, they haven't specified exactly, like they said, didn't give a timeline, just saying that the giveaway will be coming soon. So, if you're interested in getting some free tokens, stay tuned, follow Starknet, follow their foundation, and yeah,
Okay.
get some free airdrops.
Cool. So, I mean, for the benefit of the two listeners or followers, or these will be in the
Hmm.
episode notes, these links. And I want to share
Yep.
now, Mark, if you're done with those articles,
Yeah, of
just
course. Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
funding announcements. So I want to preface this. A lot of the last couple of months, you and I have spent a lot of time looking at some funding from seed companies and real pre-seed. I'm not covering those. I'm covering the more mainstream ones that are getting public press in, Strictly BC, VentureBeat, Crunchbase kind of. But eventually I'm going to bring up some of those little nuggets that you and I have been looking at the last few weeks. But this past week, there's only a couple of articles. I'm going to share my screen. There's only a couple. I didn't do the slides as I did last time, Mark. Let's go with this. Let me just see. Is it here? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to talk about these. So the crypto funding announcements that I found this week. Sindri. It's a Denver down in Colorado, and ETH Denver is a big annual fest. So there's a lot of real crypto enthusiasts in Colorado. It's a startup helps developers build and deploy zero knowledge applications, ZK applications, raise 5 million seed, led by CoinFund. And I mentioned CoinFund earlier. That's David Pacman. They're in the news a lot. So we're going to see, I think, more from CoinFund in the coming years or so, whatever. But I didn't look too detailed on this one. If you want, I'll share that with you.
Yeah,
you can look about Sindri.
Yep.
Okay, and then the other one is Shadow, and this is out of Paris, a French-based, that says it can help businesses develop crypto products faster and and cheaper by creating shadow forks. I heard about forking like way back. I mean, real Bitcoin Cash, those are all forks, right? Ethereum Classic, it's a fork. So private testing grounds that mirror the blockchain. 9 million seed, Mark. So
wow. That's a hefty sum.
So in the boys, you got the big heavyweights there: Paradigm, Coinbase Ventures, Electric Capital,
Ethereum Foundation,
Ethereum, and Uniswap.
Uniswap and Flashbots, that's massive.
Flashbots? I'd never heard of Flashbots before that.
Yeah, they do MEV protection, so or even like MEV itself. They were actually like the OGs on bringing to light the MEV opportunities within blockchain. But yeah.
So there's a lot. I mean, that's not a lot. I mean, last week we had 6. Maybe next week we'll have 4 or 5 more. But there's still a lot. You and I have seen across the globe. There's little startups, and they're not getting mainstream press like the VentureBeat, Strictly VC, and there's a lot of them. So I'm going to pick if there's no articles for the week, I'm going to go back and say, hey, Mark, here's a couple. Let's talk about these ones, because you're even finding some of them are wow. Like you're getting wowed. Your team's getting wowed. So this is, the space, the bidlers are out there completely.
All
right,
stuff.
Mark. Well, I think that's pretty much all we have for today. And we've figured out how to get the screen, the X528 screens.
That was a plus.
Mark, have a great day. No push-ups today. We'll do
next time.
Next time.
Should we end every podcast with push-ups? What do you think?
We'll try that, but not today.
All right. All right, brother. See you later.